Hello and welcome to the CRUBCAST, your weekly dose of controlled chaos. I am Chris Meekness fan, and I'm here to say that every week it does indeed get worse. Justin, how bad are you feeling?
Especially since you just had Nico punch me in the gut, I don't feel great.
Nico, how does it feel to punch your friend in the gut?
Really powerful, really strong.
Moriarty, if Silent Hill F required you to beat the game 4 different times to get the true ending, would you call that optional side content?
You know, I really don't think it is. Because here's the thing. Silent Hill F will require you to complete the game at least 3 times. At least. But realistically closer to 4 times in order to get the true ending of the game. And that means it's not optional. That's not optional. That's mandatory.
That sounds mandatory to me. Because, like, if you want to see all the content, which if you bought a game, you generally do want to see all the content, that means you have to do the stuff to see the content. And something like a true ending, like, whenever I play a game, a true ending is, like, kind of mandatory. Like, I have to see it. Like, I can't just go on with my life knowing that there's more content in that game that I just didn't see. You know what I mean?
And I want to give a little bit more sort of context to it, because I think with this specifically, Silent Hill F is sort of the game that made me think about this concept of whether or not optional content even really exists, right? But it is so egregious in Silent Hill F specifically. Not only do you have to complete the game at least twice, any 2 times you can get any of the 2 of the 5 endings, right? Well, I guess 2 of the 4 available endings at that point. And then you have to complete the game a 3rd time, but it will probably take you a 4th time to do it because you have to complete it in very specific ways. You have to complete it without using healing items. You have to find this specific item and like purify it in a quest line. Then you have to find this other thing that, by the way, has no clues in the game. There's not a single clue in the game that tells you this thing is there. Okay, it's this brooch. There's nothing in the game that tells you it's there. There's no quest that tells you need to complete it. But if you don't complete it, you don't get the final ending. So it might take you more than 3 times to complete this. And then if you do, you finally get this final good ending that is the best ending in the game where you actually win. Otherwise, you don't get a winning ending. You always lose.
Okay, so that's the kind of way that they're treating it. Nico had his hand raised first. Nico?
I have a question. Is this a new Silent Hill game?
Yeah, it came out like, in, months? I guess, September or maybe October of 2025 it came out. And it is a newer one. It's the newest Silent Hill. I think Silent Hill's a really cool game. I like Silent Hills in general. But boy, the idea of beating a game twice, completing a 3rd playthrough with very specific obscure criteria, and then finding a completely hidden collectible with no hints in order to get the final full ending, it doesn't feel optional to me at that point. But the thing is that how you position it, it would clearly be considered optional, right? You've beaten the game.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I wouldn't know that exists unless someone told me.
Yeah, that's one thing. I think another thing I'm wondering, without going into spoilers, obviously, for details, is it substantive? Is this like a 3-minute cutscene? Is this like a new gameplay section? Is this what is the true ending? Do you know?
Yeah, it's more of a cutscene, but it's the ending, right? Like it has story, it has plot, and it has the ending. If you were going to make a sequel to this game, it would be a sequel following up from that ending for sure.
Okay.
That's
I see.
So weird because
I see. So it's the canon ending. That's L.
Because my first thought was Nier Automata, which famously has multiple endings. Yeah, and some of them are just like, oh, you got killed at this point in the game in a funny way or something, right? But
like they told you not to eat the fish, but you ate the fish, and the fish killed you, and that's the end of the game.
Yeah, but the immediate one I think of is that the second main ending is you play through the entire game again, but as like the boy character, and it's just the same game, but there's a statement about that. I think it's been a long time. So I was like, oh, maybe Silent Hill F has you play a different character or something changes. I didn't know it was.
Nothing changes in the game.
Don't use healing items and you get criteria checked.
Yeah, it's really annoying. And it sort of made me think about what the meaning of optional content is, right? Because I think if you label content as optional, but then you lock that canonical, complete story behind the optional content, right, then you are obligating me to engage with content that I might otherwise skip. And that feels like a disconnect between optional and what's necessary to experience, the full narrative. And I think that there are some good examples and bad examples of both, right? I don't mind when Stanley Parable has everything locked behind it, because you are intended to play through it multiple times. You are intended to go through and sort of experience the commentary that you're going. And it's not the optional routes maybe feel mandatory to get everything, but like that's what the game loop really is, in the same way that a roguelike, right? Like, yeah, you're going to be playing through this multiple times. And I feel like if you bring that to me and you kind of give me this and say, this is the core thing, right? If you're playing through a Dark Souls game and you're going to die a bunch of times, that's just what it's going to be. I get that, and I accept that, and it's sort of intrinsic to the core concept of the gameplay. Totally fine with that. And optional options too, right? Like if you're talking about like the pacifist or the genocide route in Undertale, right? Like that is truly optional content. That is you choosing to do it. But all of the game's themes in an Undertale and all of the most memorable moments are behind these optional paths. So are they truly optional? And I haven't really kind of figured out how I feel about these things, right? Because I feel like you've got those, and then you've got, there was a game, and I always think about it. It's on a Sony Japanese game, big red guy, starts with an A.
Concord?
And
starts with an A.
Yeah, and the entire ending was DLC that was sold as DLC. And Asura's Wrath is the game. Yeah.
Asura's Wrath. I love that game.
That game, the entire true ending is DLC that you have to pay for. Those, like, there's these examples of this happening a lot in a lot of different ways, and I still haven't quite figured out how I feel about it. But I feel that there is an issue there, and I feel that there's something to talk about for sure. Because we have the true ending problem. For 100%, we have the true ending. We have the Stanley Parable example. We have the Undertale example. We have the Silent Hill example. We have the Asura's Wrath example, right?
I'll talk about endings. Like, because Sekiro's another example, right? Where, like, the true ending is locked behind completing a bunch of... I mean, it's from Soft, so you know it's going to be exactly what I'm about to say, but the true ending of that game is locked behind doing a bunch of esoteric tasks throughout the game that sometimes are not intuitive. Sometimes they are. And sometimes you'll just stumble upon them, and other times they'll happen like just naturally in gameplay, and you'll get like 1 or 2 out of the 3 things or the 4 things or whatever you have to do. And it's like, there are 2 different, you have to play that game at least twice to get all of the content, like to fight every single boss. There's one ending that like you don't even get to the like true end game bosses. There's a different set of end game bosses, but it ends it about 66% of the way into the game. There's a full 30% of the game locked behind one dialogue option. And
does the game
have
warn
to
you,
play it.
If I can cut in,
What?
does the game warn you and say, this choice matters, basically? Is there something like that would make you think like, wait, hold on, I'm about to branch off
It's
here?
from Soft. It's from Soft. Would you like to take a guess?
I don't play these games.
Sorry. Yeah, no, they don't. They don't tell you.
I respect myself, Nico.
That's okay. I was giving the audience a chance to guess too, but guess in the comments below. Yeah, no, it doesn't. It doesn't
now that
tell
I've given you the answer, please guess. Let me know what your guess is.
2. But you know,
1
if you
plus
have any
1
other
is
ideas,
2, but if you have any other ideas,
down
put it down
below.
there. Yeah, dude, no, it does not tell you. And the thing that sucks is that there are other dialogue options in the game that are tonally very similar that have the same outcome regardless of what you pick. And so that's like the part to me that's like, come on, man, are you serious?
This is where I get back and forth, because I kind of like when a game will lean into the fact that it's a game and pull funny little things like that. Like Nier Automata, very much is like, we're a video game. We're going to just be really annoying about this, and you either like it or you don't. I kind of respect that sometimes, but I also don't feel like it's right. And I go real back and forth on this. And I think it really just comes down to the game itself, you know?
Yeah.
I think if I like it, I let it slide. And if I don't, I don't, you know?
Yeah.
Not a
like,
great answer,
do you consider booting up Smash Ultimate for the first time and having to unlock 80 characters the same way where it's like, well, now I have to do a bunch of busy work to get the full game that I paid for?
Yeah, I think
do you consider that the same way?
That's busy work for certain. That's busy work, dude. Anything that you have to like, because even Balatro has so much, like, you can just play that game and not unlock a ton of jokers. Like, you can sincerely just play the game and not. They do have a button that's like, click, unlock everything. You can do that, but then I find that the game is not like, you don't have any direction. And you either have to make your own goals or you have to just enjoy the gameplay loop itself.
That's an interesting one too, because when I got into that, the scope of what can happen with Balatro at the start is very contained. And I think going into it in a, I don't know what this is, but no one shuts up about it kind of way, you kind of ease into the madness. And then once it starts unlocking cards, you start going, oh, like the neurons in your brain fire and you're like, oh, I see where this can go. But then there is also kind of a hump you get past where you're like, all right, I guess I have to Google how to get specific cards now, because now I just want more options. You know, I'm bumping up against things I'm not going to do naturally. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Which
aligned, dude.
Then maybe also comes to a question of the consumption of media. Because it's like, if I think about Balatro in a long term, I'm playing this over 20 years way. Statistically, I'll probably unlock every card, and I should focus less on unlocking the cards. But we're very much, especially us doing a podcast where we keep up to date, we're very much like, all right, I'm going to take in the thing, going to get through it as quick as I can, self-pressured, because there's another thing coming out and I want to go play that when that comes out, instead of just letting it marinate. Because like with the Silent Hill thing, I don't think there's enough there to justify 4 playthroughs. I don't think many people would naturally do no heal playthroughs. So I don't think something like that would qualify, but for the most part.
Like, that sounds like a challenge run. And then they reward you for doing the challenge run. But then the reward being so consequential is, I think, where the disconnect for me with that game specifically comes in. Because, like, am I going to do all that just to see the actual ending to the game that I paid $70 for?
Or are you going to see the article come across your social media that says Silent Hill's true ending is kind of bullshit. Here's what it is. And then you just click the YouTube video in the article and go, oh, okay.
Yeah. Or are you going to do what I do and complete the game once and then search Silent Hill F all endings? You know what I mean? Like,
right.
That literally Outer Wilds all endings. Like, I literally Google that. It's the first thing I Google after I finish a game is all endings.
Really?
Every single game. First thing I Google is all endings.
Interesting.
Yeah. And I just watch them.
Because, like, there's games like that, and then there's games like, for me, Fire Emblem Three Houses, where there's 5 different endings, technically. And you bet your ass I played 4 out of the 5 of them. Because
Yeah, but you're Justin. You're used to that.
Those endings are also so dependent on different storylines leading up to those endings, though, right? Like, it's not like an alternate thing happens dependent on one story. It's like the culmination of an entire different story for the most part, for at least the main 3, right?
Also, it's like you're seeing it from a different perspective, and it fundamentally changes the story. So, like,
yeah,
that's an interesting game too in this way, right? Like,
because, like, if you play on one side, you're winning the war this way, and if you're playing on the other side, you're winning the war this way, because you're usually winning all the battles. Yeah. Unless the game specifically hits you with no, you lost this battle and you have to recruit, which some Fire Emblem games do. Specifically, like the one that's popping up to my head right now is Engage. That does a mission like that where you just have to survive and run away. But, like, in a game like a Fire Emblem Three Houses, you're missing, like, some key storylines that you just don't learn if you play one and not the other. So to truly consume everything that game has to offer, you kind of either have to play them all, or you have to just do what Nico does and just Google it at the end.
Google it.
And be like,
yeah.
I played my one and that's it. I'm done.
I'll say this. I have a couple, like, I do have an example of like when I think there exists optional content.
Ooh.
And this is like perhaps the only time that I can think of right now, obviously open to other examples that come up during the remainder of this podcast, but it's when there is such a volume of the rest of the game that literally you can't get everything. So in something like an Elden Ring, for example, where there's such a breadth of builds and weapons, then items and spells and everything that you can use, most of which is not going to be relevant to your individual character. So while some of that may be mandatory to some folks who want to do certain builds, it's not necessarily mandatory content to enjoy the game, nor is it necessarily mandatory content to get any different ending of substance.
Right, but the thing is, right, so first of all, there is the different kind of optional in quotes here. You have the true ending problem that we mentioned before, but there is certainly I don't mind a game having enough content that you can replay it. I will never replay a game necessarily, but I don't mind that it has that, right? I think there's a difference between something like progression gating it in the same way that like a Dark Souls does, right? Where like you may not go into Ash Lake. This is something that you may never see, right? It has unique items there. It has unique materials. It has certain stuff that can affect your viability and all of that. But you may never go there. I am fine with you choosing to not experience, content in your game. That's not what I mean. I don't necessarily mean something like a Metroid Dread, right? Where you can go through these sort of optional areas. I don't mean that, right? And in the same way, I'm not talking about like a Cyberpunk or a Witcher or a Fallout or a Dragon Age where
with
you
a
have
side quest.
Where you have side quests, right? Like I'm not talking about those, because you can have a side quest. You can have optional content where if you don't engage with the optional content, then the main story is harder, right? Like that isn't the same sort of thing. What I'm talking about is in the case of let's say in the most extreme example, a Borderlands 4. Where the story is optional content, arguably, because all it exists for is for you to get to the end, right? They want you in the end game as fast as possible. They're leading you into the end game so that you can spend as much time in the end game just grinding through dungeons that you've already done. Just grind through it, but it's a little harder now. Go ahead and do all of these little events. Go do all the collectibles. Go do all of that stuff. The story, yeah, you had to get through the story. And, we have to give you a story because it's there. But it's not really important. The story is optional in that case because the developers viewed it as this random optional thing that they just had to do. We just have to give you a story. You have to have a story in a Borderlands game. But what we really want is for you to get to the end game and just play it every week. We want you to do your weeklies. We want you to do your dailies. We want that live service gameplay. That's where we want you to be. We want you to be fighting these bosses. That makes the entirety of the storyline feel like, quote, optional content. And then on the opposite side of that is your Silent Hill, where the true ending, right, is optional content. But it's not optional content. And so the argument that I feel that I'm making here is that optional content is a bad term that doesn't exist, right? You can certainly have side quests, and there are plenty of things in Cyberpunk that I've missed. I love that game. That is one of my favorite games. It was so well done. I loved it so much. I've never picked up the cat because the cat is in an optional side quest that I just missed, and I'm not going to go do that, and I'm never going to start a new character because I've completed my story in that game. And I'm fine that my character, my V, missed certain things because my V had a story that I feel was very complete. And it was very unique and personal, and it was mine, and it was what I experienced. So that's not what I mean, right? Like, I love that, and I'm happy with that. And other people can have that experience, and they can go, man, did you get to the part where, like, the guy fell out of the sky and then bounced? And it's like, wow, no, I didn't. That's pretty neat. that's cool that existed, but that wasn't my story. So that's not what I mean. That's not what I mean at all. I mean in the terms of, is optional, when we look at something like a Silent Hill F and we say, oh, well, the ending is optional content, but it's not, right? Like, it just isn't. It is the true ending. It is the best ending. It is the only good ending. It is the ending you were intended to have. And then we look at something like a Borderlands 4 where the story is a throwaway. They did not care about it. They didn't put any time or effort into it. It is the lowest quality that they could possibly get by with and still call it a story. That makes it optional content, which means that all of the, quote, optional content at the end of the game, all of the end game live service stuff, is the real content. And that means that all of these terms just suck.
I think I might have misunderstood the prompt then, because
I was going to say, because
that all sounds hella optional to me. But at the same time, if you don't do a lot of these side quests and like optional missions, like it's harder to beat the game. A lot of time.
I would say it's also like playing video games is optional in general. So if it's optional content, isn't the whole game optional content?
Well, that's existential, Justin. That's like, what are we doing with any of our time here? You can't pull it out that far.
Yeah, that's too zoomed out.
This podcast is optional, Justin.
Yeah, this podcast is optional.
I'm optionally talking to you right now.
I'm optionally listening, bro.
Optional 9.
You can't pull it back that far. I'll call you on that one.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking about it because Moriarty brings a very valid point, and I'm just like, yeah, like it's not optional in Silent Hill's sense because that's the real ending of the game.
Yeah,
when you look at like a Borderlands 4, right? Like the entire main story campaign is trivialized and relegated to a tutorial intended to rush you towards the real game, the live service end game grind of raids and seasonal content and loot chasing, which makes that traditional narrative experience optional content that you are forced to endure. Right? Have
any of you played Monster Hunter World?
Monster Hunter World is very similar to that. Most of the Monster Hunter stuff would have the. There is this sort of thing going on where everybody wants to have as much content as possible. They want to give you 5,000 hours worth of, right? Like they all want to be Fortnite. And they all want to be live service game with your optional purchases and your battle passes and your time limited content and your pressured spending and blurring lines between optional cosmetics and pay to win and all, right? Like they all want to do this because boy, Fortnite making $9 billion in its first 3 years is, well, yeah, I'd like that money too. Oh, they made how many billion since? Another 30 in the last 5? Like, yeah, I all want, if I'm a company, I look at this and I go, well, I could make $48 billion, or I could not do that. And I understand. I get it. But, like, there is this sort of problem, right, with this term of optional content. Because, sure, you could, if you wanted to be a very Nico about it, you could say, yeah, that's optional. You don't have to do it, but you do. You do have to do it.
What? If you skip I do everything.
If you skip all of the content in Witcher, you skip all the content in Cyberpunk, you have not engaged in optional content. You've engaged in, you were given a fast food buffet and told, here, choose your 9 items out of 10. That doesn't mean that 10th item is optional content that you missed, right? That's not what I mean. It is clearly mandatory.
You're talking about like in a Sekiro sense?
Right. Like it is clearly mandatory content and you are just given a sort of illusory choice. Do you want to do fetch quest A where you collect 10 rats or fetch quest B where you collect 10 cats? And that is not content that is optional. That is just a grind. What I mean when I talk about optional content, I really do mean your Sekiro or your Silent Hill F, where the actual ending is, quote, optional content. I don't think that works. I don't think that works at all.
I don't think it works at all either.
I'm still a little like confused at the difference because I do feel like, I mean, here's the thing, right? Like I go through as many side quests as I can in every game that I play. Just if not for any other reason, then the reason that I'm bad at video games and I need every leg up I can get. So like I don't really consider side quests to be like super optional. I usually do them because they usually give me some type of reward that helps you get through the game if you're not, either if you're not so good or if you are good and you're looking for more power.
I think the classification here is more that there are some things being called optional content that are very much not actually optional.
Yeah. In that case, aligned, right? Like the ending, the true ending being locked behind 4 playthroughs is distinctly not like optional is the wrong label for that. I'm aligned with that heavily.
Yeah, there was a optional ending in Mass Effect 3 back in the day where if you got like a certain rank on like the multiplayer mode in Mass Effect 2 or 3 or something like that, they'd give you an extra piece of cutscene at the end of the game of Mass Effect 3, which is the end of like this really long trilogy. And it was like, but it also had nothing to do with anything. Like it wasn't important.
Sorry, I heard ending of Mass Effect 3 and I was like, that has to be an important cutscene if it's part of the ending.
Oh,
I mean, if you want me to spoil it for you right now, I will. It was just
I feel like it's been well spoiled over the years, hasn't it?
Yeah, like the ending cutscene that you get for hitting like a certain like rank in the online mode that gives you this extra cutscene is just Shepard laying in a crater and he takes a breath. Like
yeah,
like that's literally it.
Man. See, no, that's kind of optional. Right?
Like that's the type of content that is strictly optional. Whereas the thing that Em is saying about Silent Hill F, that doesn't sound like that. You know what I mean?
No, it does
That doesn't
not.
sound like a little bonus to be like, oh, thank you for playing the game. Here's this extra content. It's like no, this is the actual ending to the game, and you have to do this and play the game the way we want you to play it. So that way you can experience it.
Right. And I do think a lot of other things are only optional if you're good at video games.
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
We could take this in a different example, which maybe will kind of click with Nico a little bit. Let's consider a Dark Souls, Elden Ring, any of them, right? What is the hardest boss in Elden Ring?
Melania.
And do you have to beat Melania at the end of the game? Is that the final boss of the game?
No.
So what is the point of the final boss of the game?
To finish the game.
But you've already beaten the hardest boss. So really, you're just kind of hanging out for a while, wasting your time, because the optional content was harder than the real content of the game.
There's still, I don't know what you're saying, man. I don't know what makes that. Yeah, I don't know what makes that any different than like any side quest that you can just choose to complete or not. Like I think that's optional by definition. But it's also then not optional.
It's not optional.
Not good at video games.
Like, would you stop playing the game once you beat Melania?
No.
So then it's
but you've
not
completed
optional.
the game, right? Like that the game is over. You've beaten the hardest boss. There's nothing else left to do.
The biggest challenge.
But that's not your goal.
Yeah.
Right. So again, the talk is here, the question here is whether or not optional makes sense, because I don't think that you could say that is optional. It's not optional. It is mandatory content, right? You are now required, after you've beaten the hardest boss in the game, to go fight lesser bosses just because.
There's story reasons, like for those who keep up.
But this is the problem with the whole optional thing, right? Because they decided to make these bosses, quote, optional and throw them out there, okay? They looked at this list and they said, we have 10 bosses, but we're only going to have 8 bosses that matter to the story, and we're going to have 2 bosses you can choose to fight. But those 2 bosses are going to be the hardest bosses in the game. They are way harder than everything else.
Do you consider beating the hardest challenge the barometer of finishing the game, or do you consider like completing the story the barometer of finishing the game?
I consider reaching the end of the game to be the end of the game.
Then you have missed the optional content, which means that you are now, because of the fact that they have arbitrarily decided this is optional content, that it is not required. They have decided this, again, arbitrarily. Because of that, you are experiencing a worse game that isn't the true game.
Yeah, I'm aligned with you.
Which means it's not optional.
Yes, I'm aligned with that. I'm aligned with that.
This is the whole point. So now, for all of our listeners who were Nicofied the whole time, perhaps you have also arrived at I am right, which is what I think Nico has finally arrived at, which is great.
I already told you that. I was on board with you. I thought the ending of Silent Hill not being labeled as optional and not being optional, I'm aligned.
It isn't optional. It's just not optional. Right? Like, it just simply isn't. And this is the thing, is that we are seeing it so much that people are saying content is optional. It's optional content. Think about all the optional content you have. And it's just not.
And what does optional, again, it just comes back to me, like, what does optional mean to you? Like, what is your barometer of I'm done with the game?
Right, which is why I've positioned all these other sorts of questions, right? Is it the progression gates where we're saying in a Dark Souls or in a Metroid, you can experience these things, but they're optional. I think that's fine. I think that having level or power scaling gates in the sort of Fallout or cyberpunky kind of way where, you have to go and do these side missions and you need to take from your, from these 10 possible choices, you need to choose 8 to get enough experience to be able to fight the boss. Totally fine with that. I don't think that's optional content. I just think that's grinding. But they will call it optional content. And then that optional content, that gets thrown into the exact same bucket as moving the Silent Hill F ending to the 4th playthrough. It gets moved into the same bucket as the end game of Borderlands 4, which isn't optional content. It is the content.
So you're saying there are more egregious offenses out there? There are more egregious offenses out there.
I'm saying the term sucks. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying that the words optional content sucks because it's not. If it's part of your storyline and you are required to beat it in order to experience the best, experience, it's just not optional. It's just not optional.
I would say that I look at the content differently. Because I look at optional content as truly being optional. If it's optional content that is becoming necessary for completion of the game, then it's not optional.
It's not optional. Yeah. So I'll give you an example of Portal 2, right? Which I think has some of the best optional content because you've completed the game in full, and then if you choose to, there are the advanced test chambers which you can go into, which are the same test chambers but everything's a little bit wonkified, or even the co-op stuff, which is designed explicitly to be content that you can play as an optional, and it's a fully arguably the best co-op experience you can have because it's a full game, right? Like the Portal 2 co-op is really, really well done. But it is optional.
It's so well done that you kind of debate is one what was the game designed to be, and it feels like it was kind of designed to be both, like the single player and the multiplayer options in Portal 2. Like it's like they're both at the same quality. It's not like a throw in.
With this, right? With this now, you have the complete narrative experience, and then the option, which is truly an option, to choose to push your skills further, right? If we're talking about this in the sense of like a movement game like a Hollow Knight, right? Then it wouldn't be fighting a harder boss. Or in a Dark Souls, it's not about fighting a harder boss. It would be fighting the same boss, but this time you don't have access to the left side of the map. It's different. It's the same challenge. You've completed the same thing. You've already done it. You've had the experience, right? But now if you want, it's a little bit harder. And that would be optional. Taking a whole boss and saying this whole boss, the hardest boss in the game, is optional, not optional. They've taken out part of the core gameplay and they've said that it's optional in order to, quote, have optional content. And that just isn't true. Just isn't true. In our chat on Twitch, because boy, we do this live on Twitch. We do have a comment here from TK Hub World, which I think is kind of interesting, which is, it's like the Tales of Hercules. Would the rest of the trials of Hercules matter if he did the hardest one first? And I think that's really true. If we're saying, okay, so Hercules has to complete his trials, but we're going to go ahead and have him do the very hardest one first, well, then he's beaten the hard one. The rest of them are meaningless. Why are we even having him do them?
They feel meaningless in the sense that you already know he's done something harder.
Correct.
So, like,
I don't know that I.
He could still get ganked in the third trial, though. It could happen. He could mess up.
Yeah, like I think that sometimes people craft narratives that are linear and contained experiences with portions that may or may not bring certain amounts of value to certain people and certain types of people.
Hercules trials, we are trying to prove that he is worthy. He's done the hardest thing.
He's already proved that he's worthy, but now he has to do a lot of busy work afterwards.
Now he has to go and do the Red Dead Redemption collecting dinosaur bones, okay? Like, he's doing the busy work that doesn't matter, that nobody wants to do. I'm hunting down my 50th cigarette card. Boy, this sure is fun. No, it's not fun, but it's optional content instead of just being padded busy work, right?
In the middle of the game.
You've proven that you're good enough. When you've beat Melania, you've proven you can beat the Elder Beast. You've done it. You've done a harder thing.
They're different. They're different. I had a harder time with Elden Beast than I did with Melania, but Melania is harder, like, by definition. It's how do I say that? Like, I'm aligned with you. Like I need you to know. Like, I agree. That
and then you keep disagreeing. Like, you keep being like, I agree with you wholly. I just don't agree with anything you're saying.
Semantically, it's just a little different. Like, it's not that I don't agree ideologically. I do think there are a lot of, like, busy work and things that, like, people put in. But I think we perhaps have different ideas of, like, what constitutes finishing an experience. For me, it's not necessarily overcoming the hardest challenge and then you're done. Like, that doesn't resonate with me. For me, it's completing the game and like rolling credits, basically, right? Like, for me, it's rolling credits. It's rolling credits one time, specifically. It doesn't matter to me how that happens. And I think what I'm aligned with is the concept of games should escalate in difficulty. And what I'm aligned with is the fact that if you lock a true canon ending behind 4 playthroughs, that is no longer optional.
Okay, so
what I'm not aligned with... Let me just
kind of play devil's advocate with you real quick. Let's say that you opened up Elden Ring, and after you beat Margit, the credits roll.
Okay.
Melania.
Margit, you've beaten Margit.
No, I was talking about a different part of the game, yeah.
The very first boss, you've beaten Margit, credits roll. Game's over, you've done it.
Cool. And then there's 99%
but
of other game behind it.
You would feel that you've completed that game now.
Yeah, I mean, I'd still probably play more of it, but yeah.
You would choose because, boy, there's all that optional content now.
Yes, I probably would.
But it's not optional. It is the game. This is my problem. It's not optional.
But it's no pressure. But you play it with no pressure. Like, there's a little bit of pressure that comes into, like, finishing a game and being like, I'm done with this game, right? But if you finish a game and there's more post-game content, you can play as much or as little of that as you want, and there's no pressure to do so while also saying, I finished the game. You know what I mean? Like, you can say, I finished the game, because you did. And now you're free to just play it, and if you can't overcome a challenge,
you're still free to just play it. You can just play it. You don't have to reach an arbitrary credit roll in order to have played a game.
But then how is it? How is any of it not optional? This goes back to what Justin said.
I genuinely see both sides of this conversation. I do genuinely see both sides of this conversation.
I feel like I am never going to agree with Nico on this.
I agree with you.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I just think you have a different point of what an ending is.
I don't know. I just had a mental image of Dr. Evil like beckoning
Chris,
Mini-Me over, you know.
Yeah. What's your take on this, Chris? What are your thoughts?
I got lost around the time of the Margit example because I googled Margit because I didn't know what a Margit was.
Forget that. What are your thoughts
Margit
on like the concept of
it's not the Margit
content?
specifically. It was just the idea that the first boss, but then there's different content versus doing the same content with slight modifiers to get to a real ending. I don't think I know what's going on anymore. Basically, I've just been listening, trying to understand.
Here's an explanation. Here's a example for Chris that he'll understand. Spoilers for Pokemon Legends Arceus. Legends Arceus, you can finish the game but not have completed the Pokedex, and you wouldn't have seen all the content in that game. Do you consider seeing Arceus in that game optional, or do you see that as mandatory?
Oh, I see.
That's a really good example, Justin.
That is the conceit of the game too, from the start, because he's like, "Yo, do all this crap for me.
Find all the Pokemon." Yeah,
but there is a story that concludes before wrapping that plot thread. Okay, I see.
Yeah, because that's what they're arguing currently.
Yeah,
is like,
basically.
I think they're both right. I think both sides are smart and awesome and right.
And also right. Don't forget right.
I mean, I think both
Nico's right about agreeing with him, and I think Im's right about not agreeing with
disagreeing with Nico.
Yeah, that's my nuanced take on this one.
What do you mean?
Yeah, I think this is one of those things where I just really I feel that we need better terms, and we don't have great terms, right? Like this is one of those things where what is a platformer is the kind of thing, right? We need better terms. What does Metroidvania really mean anymore? What is we need better terms, and we don't have them, and boy, it really annoys me. It's the same sort of thing, right? Like I've had this big problem for quite a long time of the definition of the word critic and reviewer, because I feel like there is a very clear personal difference between the two, but a lot of sort of casual normies will be like, oh, that's the same thing. And I don't think that is. I think that there's a very, very clear difference between what is a critic and what is a reviewer, right?
I mean, by definition, doesn't a critic generally mean it's being critical of the thing that they're talking about? Whereas a reviewer can go either way.
So, well, so like a reviewer should be telling you whether or not something works, right? Whether or not it achieves its goal. If it's a video game, the game works, the graphics are able to hit 4K, they are able to, play on everything, and right? Like it's much more kind of like a technical thing. It has these things in its menus, and you have an FOV slider and all of that, right? And then a critic is somebody who's supposed to be giving you very opinionated stuff. It's not supposed to be just kind of like a does it work. So your reviewer would be your IGN, right? Like your 2-minute, here's your IGN, it's a thing. And it really shouldn't have a score other than it works. Yeah, it works. It meets all of the technical qualifications for being a video game, right? And then a critic is somebody who should be doing the this is good, this is bad, I don't like this. And you should be aligning yourself to critics based off of your personal bias, right? If you don't like Pokemon Arceus, but you do like Pokemon Scarlet, right? Then does Pokemon ZA work for you, right? That is the type of thing where you're able to say, well, this particular reviewer says the game works fine on Switch 2, but this critic says that he didn't like it because it's too much like Arceus. Well, I don't like Arceus, so therefore I know that I don't think
that I would like this. Yeah.
Right? Like that's the difference between the reviewer and critic. And it's the same sort of I am a big fan of getting really nitpicky and nuanced about language, right? I think that language has purpose and that words have
I think this podcast
meanings.
is a
I think this is an example of that. We're
6-7.
We're
6-7.
Yeah.
E.
So I think it's definitely one of those things where and this is why. Do you see? We're all 6-7s and you're over there Eing. This is the problem.
E.
Yes.
Bro pulled up the meme from 2014.
It's better.
Is this the kind of discussion where somebody is going, I think it's all just in semantics and you're all nitpicking? Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is. But it's the same thing as like, look, there is a design philosophy that I think games, or rather there's a discussion about design philosophy that I think that games should have, that we should have in the gaming space, right? Which is, should optional content be Ubisoft's checklist? Or should it be Nintendo's, completion, right? And where do we want to sit between those two? And how should those philosophies shape player expectations and industry trends?
So you're just saying we should only call things optional if they are truly optional?
Yes.
I agree with that.
Because the Silent Hills example, especially, if you're a true ending enjoyer, that quadruples that game. It's no longer that there are 3 optional playthroughs. It's that a playthrough is then 4 playthroughs, especially.
Yeah.
Which at that point, you could be like the meme where they're like, oh God, this cake is so much worse than mine. And then the other person that likes Silent Hill is like, oh my God, I get to play the game 4 times. This is awesome.
Meanwhile, if you're
but
me,
it's
I'm
not
like, that
optional.
shit's padding, bro.
Yeah.
So
It is all padding. It's all padding. You're playing the same game, to be clear. Like, you're just playing the same game again.
I do have a question then by this logic. So with something like Resident Evil 2 Remake, where there are 4 different, I say different with heavy air quotes, playthroughs of the game where you play Leon A, Leon B, Claire A, Claire B. But they're not much different. You really don't get much different endings. But the games, the gameplay themselves are like marginally different. What would you classify that as?
I didn't come into this with answers, to be clear, right? I came into this with, I think this is something that we should be talking more about. I think
I'm asking for clarification purposes, not for grilling you purposes.
Nico?
I think that one playthrough of each is mandatory, but playing all 4, I think you only have to play 2 of the 4. Because you get Leon's story and you get Claire's story. You don't need both. Or you don't need Claire A, Claire B. They're not much different.
Mm-hmm.
Like Claire A and Leon A are like pretty similar campaigns. Hell, even Claire B and Leon A are similar campaigns. So it's like,
is that really optional content? Or
maybe
it's
not even.
Right. And I think this is just one of those things where we should have the discussion because, boy, clarity is nice. And if you say to me as a game developer, oh, I have a 40-hour campaign and 120 hours of optional content, I should have 120 hours of fucking optional content, not just 4 playthroughs.
Yes, I'm aligned. Heavily aligned.
I wasted my one good beep on that.
Heavily aligned. I also think that we shouldn't. I'm with you. I think we shouldn't call like side quests and stuff optional if like an item makes it so that completing the game is like hella easier. If you do a side quest and it nets you an item that gets you through the game with a smoother and more fun experience, I would argue that is also not optional.
Smoother and more
necessarily.
Fun. Objective to you or objective to everybody?
Yes.
So, Chris, which of the 2 versions do you think that you prefer? Do you think that you prefer a Power Moon, where the collectible is a waypoint for exploration? Or do you prefer Far Cry, where you have 1,000 little icons to go complete? And which one of those is optional?
And please tell me in good timing, please, because I need this to be on my desk stat.
Oh, I guess I prefer the clear, defined objective. I prefer to have an in and an out and a pretty clear idea of how long it's going to take and what it'll take me to get there versus going into a big map in like Venezuela or wherever Far Cry takes place and going, wow, that's a lot of exclamation points of me going to a place and blowing up a thing and then seeing a check mark in a menu. But that feels like a different conversation than we're having.
It's the same sort of thing, right?
It's in the ballpark.
It's design philosophy on optional content, just overall.
But sometimes
right?
I want all the bullshit because I don't actually care about what I'm doing. I'm just wasting my time, which is maybe more of an indictment on the game design than what I prefer. But sometimes I do want the crap.
We are Yakuza fans.
We are Yakuza fans.
Mm-hmm.
I guess the real question is, what do you think?
Yeah, let us know, chat. Let us know, dear viewer and listener. Let us know in the comments what you think.
Or tweet us or whatever.
Or
don't tweet me though.
Or
I don't want that.
I mean, that's optional content for you to consume. I think that's what you want.
Is it really optional if you aren't reading all of our comments, Sam?
You know, I'm not going to answer anything about my engagement.
Oh, unfortunate. Justin, have you ever talked to your parents and called them chat?
Yes.
That's crazy.
No, actually, I haven't. But that would be funny.
That would be funny. You should do that when we're done here. Let me know how it goes.
I'm just gonna go call my mom and be like, "Hey, chat, what's up?"
I have called unsuspecting groups of people chat before, and I really regret it. I gotta not do that. That's like not
Nico
fun.
went into the office at work and just said, "Hey, chat, how's it going?"
Yep, Justin just guessed exactly what it was. Yeah.
Wow, that's great. I think that's okay at work though, because they really are just viewers to your life, aren't they?
How many NPCs are in a general office?
That's a large question these days. How many NPCs do we all work with, Justin?
I work with at least 2, and one of them isn't here right now.
Speaking of things I don't understand, we have a question of the week from Chef Kilo. Thank you, Chef Kilo. If you did not know, you can go to patreon.com/crub. You can also subscribe to us on Twitch or YouTube and get into our Discord, where you will get an access to our spreadsheet to submit questions. I forget about that sometimes. So you can go in and give us a bunch. We actually need some. You can ask things like this that we won't understand. Let me ask this one from Chef Kilo.
And that's not optional because it is the best way to experience the podcast.
No, it's pretty optional. You don't need to pay us.
It's pretty
I would
optional.
like you
They
to.
have to, Justin.
I would like you to, yeah.
Yeah, it's
Because
pretty
we offer some
optional.
content that explains the lore, so you gotta...
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you gotta play through all the episodes of Bulatro to understand why Nico's like this.
Ooh, new one coming soon. All right, I am heavily leaning on you guys. Who would win a baseball match? The full CRUBCAST featuring Left Shark from our Twitch notifications, because we don't know how to fix it.
Oh, we need a ninth player. I get that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
as the 9th. Or the 1994 Birmingham Barons, the team Michael Jordan was on.
So this is a double A,
Can I?
single A, double A, single A minor league baseball team?
I think if I'm designated hitter, then we have better odds.
You're not allowed to be. Because you need 9 people in the field.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. I don't think you can do that. Like, you can't be
You
a pinch
need
hitter,
to be in the
you know?
field.
Yeah, then
You
we
need a
lose every
catcher.
time. Yeah, if
We need more than 9
people.
people and Kilo disadvantages.
Well, no, I actually can't throw. The problem is they never let me. They never let me be pitcher.
No, I actually
so
can't throw.
They never let me be pitcher in little league, so I stopped caring about baseball for 20 years.
No. You can't be the pitcher. You can be the catcher, though.
I could be the catcher.
But
Yeah.
the catcher also has to throw.
Yeah,
though.
but they don't have to be accurate about it. They just got to get it to the pitcher.
Yeah, well, apparently he can't throw.
Yeah,
so.
I can't really throw it.
Would you rather him be in like left field?
Yeah,
No,
maybe.
that's traumatizing.
Yeah,
I can't play left field. That's traumatizing.
Then
We
he
might
just
need
has to
we might
run out
need a.
there.
Can I
That's
pull
good.
a pinch? Can I pull a pinch
Pinch
fielder?
fielder? Are you picking out? Want a chat to be the fielder for you?
I'll take Erkman.
Erkman's Erkman. You are now the left fielder. Congratulations, you've been drafted into this scenario.
Yeah,
Can I quit too, actually?
I'm not quitting.
okay.
I'm gonna hit because all I do. I'm good at hitting shit and hitting things with sticks. I play golf. I play the drums. Like
Erkman's playing left field. Chris would have been playing first base. So
Chris is
now
first
that's gonna
base
be
easily.
That's going to be now the crazy even because Chris is not playing anymore.
yeah.
I can't run. I can't catch. I can't throw. I can't hit. I can't I don't understand baseball.
Yeah.
I don't eat hot dogs. I do. I'm just kidding.
You don't even slonk glizzies? How are you gonna be a baseball player if you don't
actually,
slonk glizzies?
I don't slonk
That was a
glizzies.
complete
I think
lie.
we're
I don't know
losing
why I
this
said
game,
that. I had
fellas.
2 an hour ago.
Okay, so here's the wait.
I
I
think
just
we're
wanted the
losing this
footage of me
game.
being here. I had to eat.
So here's the real thing. Like I like the idea that like you pulled the Trav and you just put a picture of your normal face talking, but behind it you're just eating hot dogs.
They were great.
Man.
No, let's be real here for a second. They're professional athletes. We lose every single time.
Yeah.
But it is baseball, and baseball anybody can win on any given day. So like, I'd
is
give us
tr- yeah,
a
are
we-
chance.
If we're
It really
playing
just
a,
depends. I think it really depends on how the ump chooses to read that particular throw. And
True, we
whether or
could go
not it's a
16
ball,
innings.
Whether or not it's a ball
18.
or it's a strike. We could go 18 innings based off of this. So I think that's really what we've got to just hope for, is that we can bribe these low-paid umps enough money where we can get it done.
Michael Jordan has a lot of money though, so I don't think we can outpay him.
Well, that's
Okay,
why our
but-
Patreon
okay.
isn't optional content. We gotta
Right,
hate Michael
true.
Jordan from 1994.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that's like they don't call him M. Moneybags Moriarty for nothing.
That's true.
You know,
Me
Moneybags
looking for the
Moriarty.
people
M.
who say that.
Moneybags Oriarty.
Chat.
Chat. I'm looking at chat right now. Who says that? Did you say that? It wasn't me.
Everybody says it. Everybody's been
true.
saying it.
Yeah, everyone's. They can't stop people from saying it.
You can't stop people from saying it.
So basically, our answer is if we could get enough money to save the community center / pay off the ump, we could beat Michael Jordan's Birmingham Barons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're minor leaguers, bro. They didn't even make it to the majors.
We
If
could
not,
also put a lot of
we're-
money on them.
They win the bet and then have a second game where we just rig the game with the money we made from the bet.
I mean, it'd be
sports
like
betting's pretty
dodgeball.
big these days.
Yeah, I've heard sports betting is
Ruining it.
very in the news right now. So we should just get involved.
Yeah, get him while it's hot.
Sports betting is a cancer,
Aligned.
It is
and all gambling is a cancer.
Aligned.
something that I love very very much in sports is kind of being ruined by people just yelling at the athletes because
Oh, because they didn't hit their parlay.
yeah, you're screwing up my parlay.
Oh my god,
Like-
dude, I love making parlay jokes when there's like the like stupid halftime like stuff, not stupid, but like the halftime
love
shows
it.
that go on, like when they have like little kids come out and like play a game. I love just being like, my parlay.
Look, the answer, by the way, is that we would draft various members of the chat and force them to play and then bet on them and be annoyed when they don't get it. I can't
True.
believe that Chimbus didn't hit that ball while he was pretending to be Justin. That's
Yeah.
it.
Why'd
That's
Mick
it.
Yeager run counterclockwise around the field?
I can't believe
at
it.
third
Oh
base.
no,
I do that.
Mick Yeager. I'm drafting for pitcher.
That's
He'd
it.
hit.
We've done.
Yeah.
done.
Crazy though, because that does remind me of today's sponsor.
DraftKings.
No, that's a joke. We know. Just
Say we-
all right, that's all I got for today. I'm gonna go do anything else, and by that I mean
Incredible.
go to our
Slonk
post
some
show.
glizzies.
Yeah, slong some glizzies. I hope everyone has a great week. We'll see you next week for more CRUBCAST. Bye, everyone.